Well, I did not expect to be doing one of these so soon, but I got kind of lucky again. This past weekend, I went to the flea market this time, and very rarely do I find like a lot of good things at the flea market. Sometimes I find, the occasional figure, maybe a comic book, and very rarely a video game or anything like that. But I got pretty lucky. I got a whole bunch of stuff here that I'm going to show off, and I think we'll start off with some of the oddball things that I found. I found a Captain Power figure. He's kind of, unfortunately, very loose-legged, but don't see Captain Power very often. Captain Power was a live-action TV show from the 80s, an interactive show, if you could believe that. The idea behind the show was that you buy the toys, and the toys would have like laser guns in it, like the ships had a laser gun, and you could fire it at the TV, and you can act like you're shooting. Kind of like a video game, except you can't win. You would always lose because it's a TV show, not a video game. But yeah, they had a pretty good line of action figures. This guy here is Major Hawk. He was supposed to come with like a hang glider thing. Again, is not in the best condition, but you don't see these figures that often. At first I thought it was Captain Power because he looks very similar, but Captain Power is gold. And there you see where the hang glider bit is supposed to go in. Wonder if I could find accessories for these guys on eBay. Yeah, again, don't see these too often. I actually have one other figure. I don't remember the name of the character. It's been a while since I've seen the TV show. I hear it's actually still kind of okay. Maybe a little bit better than that, but I hear different things from different people. I might try and watch it again one of these days. But yeah, having one of the other figures, unfortunately it's broken. His leg broke off at the knee joint. He was one of the robots from the show. He's one of the bad guys, I think. This big, tall, like brown robot, and he has like a cat face, and he has treads for feet, and I thought that was really funny because it doesn't look like it would really work all that well. But yeah, not a bad find. Pretty good. Looks alright aside from the leg joints, and I could probably fix that. Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I got him. So I'm gonna try and and put these guys in the background as I'm showing them, but I don't know if it's gonna work out all that well. Stay, please. Okay, so the next figure I found. Actually, I should mention I found a whole bunch of G.I. Joe figures. And I'll look at those in a minute, but one of the oddball ones that I found was Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. Yeah. So in the 90s, Hasbro put out a line of figures from Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, and they did them in the style and proportions of the G.I. Joe figures. Now, what I found interesting was the Street Fighter figures, I think were supposed to tie in with G.I. Joe. But the Mortal Kombat ones were just kind of their own thing. But, it's the same proportions, same basic build as a G.I. Joe figure. So you could use it alongside, the G.I. Joe and Street Fighter figures. They also had weird vehicles, like, I actually have a couple of these. I think they have Raiden, Sonya, and Kano, I think. And they had right out of Defenders of the Realm, they had a motorcycle with a missile launcher, just like in Mortal Kombat. But yeah, it was a really pretty good line of toys. Again, you could work with them. They could work, alongside G.I. Joe and Street Fighter. Probably the closest we'll ever get to a proper Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat crossover, unless both series decide that they're out of ideas. But who knows? This one also got a little bit loose in the legs. He's missing a bit of his crotch, unfortunately. Got a little scuff mark right there. The arm, I think that might actually be glued on. I can't seem to turn that. I'm not going to mess with it, though. Yeah, otherwise, very nice. Looks pretty good. They had all the ninjas from Mortal Kombat, but they were all pretty much just remolds of each other. Like Sub-Zero was just, a blue version of this. Not bad though. Let's put him next to Major Hawk. There we go. Now, let's look at the G.I. Joes I got, because I got a bunch of these. So let's start with this one. Here we go. This guy right here. This is Crazy Legs. Yes, that's his name, Crazy Legs. He is a paratrooper. He's an infantry trooper with like a parachute. But again, no accessories, but he's all right. I think I used to have this guy, but he probably got sold a long time ago. Pretty good condition too. He's got kind of a loose arm there, unfortunately. Should call him Crazy Arms instead of Crazy Legs. What's unfortunate is that in the box I found this guy in, they actually had two of these, and both of them, unfortunately, had the same problem. This one was in slightly better condition, so I chose him. Yeah, not bad. Pretty good. He's got kind of a smug look on him, like, yeah, I'm the paratrooper. Look how cool I am. Alright, so let's put him there, next to Scorpion. The next guy I got is this guy, who has what I think is the most unfortunate name of all the G.I. Joe characters. This is Skidmark. Yeah, Skidmark. Oh, I am so sorry, Skidmark. It kind of reminds me of that Robot Chicken sketch. Robot Chicken did a sketch where like a new guy was joining G.I. Joe, and he was about to get his cool code name, but then he slipped, and then they decided to name him Fumbles. And then he got mad and went to join Cobra. Oh, Fumbles. Classic Fumbles. Yeah, pretty good condition. This one has a little bit of, I'm not sure if that's like paint or just wear. It looks like just something stuck on his boot, but I don't know. I'll play around. I haven't had time to clean these, so some of them might be in a bit of disrepair. Also got a little paint scuff on his the rim of his hat there. What's cool about this guy is that he is actually a vehicle driver. He was packaged with a vehicle called the Desert Fox, which was a vehicle, it's like a Jeep with missiles and stuff, and I assume they drove it through the desert, but I'm not sure. Not bad. He is, I believe he's from the 90s? Oh no, 1988, wow. Very brightly colored for an 80s G.I. Joe. You didn't see that very often. Although as the 90s approached, a lot of the G.I. Joes kind of got more brightly like neon colors and stuff. As we will look at in a minute. You could usually spot a 90s G.I. Joe as opposed to a 80s G.I. Joe just based on the color scheme. So, I suppose he's not that bad, at least not compared to these other guys I got. So, the last four figures I got are from a G.I. Joe group, or like a spin-off toy line, I guess, called Ninja Force. That's when they got like Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow and a couple other characters, and they redesigned them, and they brought in a whole bunch of new characters. Again, this is during the 90s, and unfortunately not many of the redesigns worked so well, and I have actually one of them right here. This guy. This is Zartan. You remember Zartan from the cartoon and the toy line? He was all like Mad Max-like with brown clothes, and he had black eyeshadow, and he was a shapeshifter, and he couldn't go into the sun for some reason. Yeah, this is his 90s redesign. He looks like a character from like a 90s beat-em-up. He looks like someone you'd see in like Double Dragon as like a boss of a level. Got rocking the mohawk right there. Goes all the, wow, that mohawk goes all the way down to his eyebrows. Jeez, I don't think mohawks work like that unless it's just like combed forward or something. I'm overthinking this. Yeah, got neon colored face paint. Got bright green pants. He had a couple of his accessories too, which is really cool. You don't see that very often. The one thing I really didn't like about this line was the accessories they came with. They were all monochromed, like bright neon colors. Very reminiscent of the accessories you'd see with the Ninja Turtles, actually. But I don't know. It just, for G.I. Joe, it just didn't seem right. Then again, I didn't really care for a lot of the Ninja Turtles accessories either, because they were just kind of boring. Oh well. There's Zartan. They also redesigned Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes, and I'll probably talk about them in another video. But yeah, not a huge fan of this. Not sure why they made Zartan a ninja. Nothing about him was ever ninja-like, except for the fact that he can, you know, change his appearance, I suppose. They're kind of stretching there. All right, let's look at some real ninjas, like this guy, who totally looks like a ninja. So yeah, here's another one from the Ninja Force line. This is Night Creeper. He was obviously a bad guy based on the fact that he's kind of creepy looking. And he's got grenades all over him, and he's all dark purple and dark, or not, is not really dark, but evil colors like purple and gray. Ooh, and he's got a red Cylon thing on his helmet. Now, one thing I did really like about the Ninja Force line is that a lot of them had, you know, interesting features rather, like this. He can smack his hands on a table. Gentlemen, we need to bring this meeting to order. Just now noticing, I believe he might have been glued down onto his pelvis there, or maybe not, because I know a lot of these guys didn't have the O-ring like a lot of the G.I. Joes had. Very good condition though, no scuffs or anything. What year is he from? 1992. I always found it awkward that you have to look at the inside of their thigh to get the year, and then they got some more information stamped right on their butt there, if that will ever focus. Yeah. I suppose it's a good way to keep the little stamp out of the way, but yeah, not bad. Pretty good find there. Put him next to Zartan. I am amazed that these are not falling over yet. Oh. Fix yourself. There you go. Alright, so then the next guy I have is this guy. Again, purple and black. Evil. Clearly a Cobra guy. This is Dice. Now, one thing I do remember quite vividly about the Ninja Force line, there were two characters, Dice, and the other one is named Slice. Slice and Dice. Yeah, they were, I guess, some sort of tag team ninja assassins or whatever. Kind of like his mask. Got that, like, almost looks like a face hugger, really, except it's not over his mouth, which is, I guess, a good thing. Again, pretty good. This is a good example of one that does not have the O-ring that gives him that hip swivel. So he has like this, I guess you give him a sword and he can slice things. See, he's slicing, he's not dicing. Fortunately, again, don't have the accessories, but that's fine. It's a good thing they have this, though, because it makes these guys hold up a little more than some of the other G.I. Joes, because over time, that O-ring that's inside, it will degenerate. Oh, no, there he goes, he's falling. He tried to escape. Yeah, the O-ring will degenerate over time, and you have to replace them, but luckily they are easy to replace. Hey, play nice. I do want to show you one other thing that I do remember noticing on this guy. All the G.I. Joes have a screw right here, and this one is kind of rusty, and so is the other one. So that is one other thing you really should look for when you go through boxes of G.I. Joes at flea markets and yard sales and wherever you buy your used toys at. Luckily, they are easy to replace also. You just got to find the right size screw. You can find a lot of that stuff on eBay. A lot of people sell replacement parts. Alright, so the last G.I. Joe I have is one that I don't know how to pronounce the name of. This one, I think, is a good guy. Maybe? I might have been a Joe. I don't remember. As much as I love G.I. Joe, it's hard for me to keep track of every single little thing in the toy line. You have to be an insane person to have memorized all of the G.I. Joe toy line. Anyway, this guy, I don't know how to properly pronounce his name. It's called Shebang or something like that. Shebang. It's like T''J''Bang. Bang. T''J' bang. Shebang. I guess. I don't know. Again, brightly colored clothes. You know, when I think ninja, I don't think brightly colored clothes. So, yeah. But he got it's got the hip swivel, so he's gonna last a good while. The screws are not too bad. They look good. No rust. So yeah, he looks good otherwise. He has a strange name. and he does not wear a shirt, which is not good when you're fighting Cobra and you're constantly getting shot at. And there we go. So that's the G.I. Joes I got, and Captain Power figure, which actually kind of works with the rest of them. Same basic articulation, just a different company that made them. So now we're going to move on from G.I. Joe to another franchise that I remember kind of liking the toys of, but I never really followed the cartoon of. Mask! Yes, with the G.I. Joes, I actually found a whole bunch of Mask figures. I actually had a couple. And you know what? Surprisingly, between these and the G.I. Joes, I didn't get any doubles. That is insane for me. Okay, anyway. So yeah, this is the leader of Mask, Matt Tracker. As you can see right there. Him and his non-existent eyes. And again, a little dirty because I haven't had time to clean them. Yeah, Matt Tracker. He was the leader. I actually had to look up a bunch of these Mask figures because I wasn't entirely familiar with them as I am with like the G.I. Joes. Even the G.I. Joes, I had to look up some of them, but I knew who these guys were. I knew Zartan just based on the face paint. But anyway, here's the other one I got here. Well, I got a bunch of them. This is Bruce Sato. Take his mask off. His helmet, not a mask. If it will come off, there it is. Yeah, there he is. Again, it was kind of weird. I mean, I know these guys are tiny, but it's weird that none of them had, like, eyes. They all have Youngblood's disease. Yeah, I remember Sato was like, he liked to quote things. He said, like, Sato says this, and they actually did another Robot Chicken sketch about that, and he was just saying all these, like, horribly offensive things. Sato say, woman has 70 jobs around the house. Cooking and 69. Oh, Sato, you are so offensive. Anyway, moving on. I have one of the bad guys here. This is Slyrax. Unfortunately, he did not have a mask with him. Actually, I did get like a spare mask along with these guys, but I don't know who it goes to. We'll just leave it there for now. Yeah, he was one of the bad guys. I remember him somewhat from the cartoon. He had like a... He spoke like Jack Nicholson. He talked like this, man. We're going to get those mask guys. So kind of like that. I don't know if that was a good impression, but you get the idea. Yeah, definitely evil. Based on the mustache and the soul patch and the chains, he is definitely not a good guy. So, there we go. Other ones I had that I had to look up. This guy is... Bruno something. I can't read my own handwriting. He's kind of a punk guy. I believe some of these guys came from the later line when they switched up the show a bit. It started out kind of like just a knockoff of G.I. Joe, and then they tried to incorporate some kind of like gimmick to it. Like later on in the show, they became like racers or something like that. It was kind of weird. I honestly did not have much interest in the show, aside from the theme song, which was amazing. What's weird about this guy is I actually looked up like a guide online just to look up some of these guys' names, and it said that this was his mask. And I'm not sure if they were correct about that, because when you put it on, it doesn't really work. See, like, the masks usually work with the just overall aesthetic of the figure. This guy... that doesn't work. That does not work at all. I just noticed his chain tattoo that he has on his arm. Oh, he's another bad guy. Look out for him. This guy is, I believe, another good guy. Again, does not have a mask. Kind of dirty, unfortunately, because I haven't had time to clean it. This is Ace Riker, and he has he kind of looks like Hannibal from the A-Team. He just needs a cigar. I love it when a plan comes together. Alright, so we'll move on from him. And we'll look at the last guy I got, whose name I could not find online. There's not that many mask resources on the internet. But, yeah, definitely a bad guy. He's got, like, cyber implants in his face. Yeah, he's definitely evil based on that look. He appears to have, like, a missing eye Let me get a closer look at that. Huh? He's like half skull man. He's kind of cool looking. Yeah. Again, I could not find the name of this guy. So if any mask experts out there know who he is, feel free to comment about it. So yeah, that was my finds from the flea market. I did find a couple other things, and we're gonna look at those in a second because I have to reposition the camera. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and let's just take a moment and appreciate that none of these guys have fallen over. Some of them have bad legs, as you remember seeing, and I'm actually kind of impressed by the fact that they're still standing. Most of them are leaning up against the tapes, but, you know, I'm taking this victory. Anyway, remember in the last toy haul video I did, when I talked about how I went to the comic book shop, and then afterwards, I went to a thrift store, and I found a Garfield plushie from 1981. Well, it happened again, and I don't expect this to be like a regular thing at the end of these toy haul videos, because stuff like this never happens to me. But I got lucky again, because on my way back from the flea market, I stopped at some thrift stores, and I found 2 plushies that I need to show off. So, here's the first one. It's a pound puppy! Oh, I haven't seen one of these guys in forever. And see by the tag right there. Zoom in. Focus. 1985. Yes, I have not seen a vintage pound puppy in forever. I think I had one when I was a kid. It might actually be this same one, but I'm not really sure. I don't remember. I wonder if this is the exact one I had when I was a kid. Who knows? Yeah, pound puppies, kind of different back in the 80s as they are now. I never really, I had one of these, but I didn't really pay much attention to the toy line. I watched the cartoon a lot on Saturday mornings. It threw me off that they actually had characters in the show, and the toy line was just like generic animals, like dogs and cats. But, whatever. Very good condition, too. No stains or anything on them. Might be a little dusty, but I'm gonna maybe give them a once-over with the vacuum and try and do that. I think that's the safest way to clean a lot of like old like plush toys like this. You just get like a little hand vacuum and just try and suck up as much of the ages of filth that are on it. Looks good otherwise. He's got little scratch marks on his eyes, but that's fine. Some fuzz on his nose. Otherwise, he's in very good condition. And it occurs to me how, now that I'm looking at this, how friggin' diabolical the designs of these toys were, because look at that face. Look at it. You cannot resist that face. Please buy me. They're gonna put me in the back room and the dogs don't come out of there. Oh no! Look at him! Quick! Get your mother to buy you all of them before they get gassed. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, well. I don't know if I'll keep him, but we'll find this guy a good home. All right. So now we come to the final thing that I bought, and it may very well be the best thing that I've ever found in a thrift store or even in a flea market. You ready for this? Alf! I found an Alf! I've never had an Alf. I used to love the TV show. Surprisingly, I never watched much of the cartoon. I did like the sitcom, though. Yeah, Alf, the alien life form. Let's take a look at the tag here. 1 year after the Pound Puppy, 1986. Wow. Alf is a very beloved icon of the time. I remember he had comic books, too. They've been talking about bringing him back for the longest time. I kind of hope they don't, but if they do, they need to keep him as a puppet, because that was part of his charm. He was a puppet, like a Muppet type of puppet in the in the real world, and that was kind of cool. I just noticed he has a little tag right there. I assume that's where like a thing was. Oh well, he looks very nice. He feels a little dusty, but I'll clean him up. Very weird character, Alf. He came from space. He had he had this giant nose, which has all these things that I keep thinking are like dirt marks, but they're actually just warts on his nose. He told jokes and he ate cats. Yeah, Alf had a thing for cats. He liked to eat them. He always tried to eat the cats of the people he was living with. It was a very weird show now that I think about it. But yeah, I like that I got this now. Really cool. Very good condition. So yeah, that was my toy haul for this week. I don't know when I'll do another one of these next. But yeah, it's been cool. Got pretty lucky this time around. So Alf, you got anything to say before we go? Do you still have that Garfield plush? Yes, it's in the other room. And that's where you're gonna be keeping me? Why? Oh, just making sure. Kill me. Alf, I think I'm gonna keep you in the garage. Just to be safe.